There are moments between two people that seem almost too small to matter, yet somehow they stay in your mind long after everything else has disappeared. A glance that lasts just a little longer than expected. A smile that arrives before the other person has even finished speaking. A sudden change in posture when someone walks into the room. A quiet pause that feels strangely louder than all the noise surrounding it. And when those moments happen between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei, fans cannot help but wonder whether they are simply witnessing two talented performers sharing a comfortable friendship, or whether something about their connection has quietly shifted into something more complicated, more natural, and far more difficult to explain. Their public appearances have always carried a certain warmth, but there are occasions when the atmosphere seems different, as though the space between them has become charged with an invisible familiarity. Nothing needs to be said. Nothing needs to be announced. Sometimes, the smallest reaction can create a bigger story than any carefully prepared statement ever could. What makes these moments so fascinating is that they do not feel like dramatic scenes written for an audience. They feel spontaneous. They happen in the spaces between the expected moments, when cameras are moving, people are talking, lights are flashing, and everyone is supposed to be focused on the event itself. Yet somehow, attention keeps drifting back toward them. Perhaps it is the way Zhang Linghe appears to notice Tian Xiwei even when he seems occupied with something else. Perhaps it is the ease with which Tian Xiwei can shift from a bright public smile into a softer expression when she is around him. Perhaps it is simply the feeling that neither of them appears completely uncomfortable with the other's presence. In a world where celebrities are constantly surrounded by cameras and carefully watched by millions of people, genuine spontaneity is rare. That is why an unscripted second can become unforgettable. Imagine the atmosphere of a crowded event, filled with music, conversation, flashes of cameras, and the restless energy of people waiting for something memorable to happen. Everyone is dressed perfectly. Every movement seems to have been anticipated. Every smile can become a photograph. Every interaction can be replayed online within minutes. And then, somewhere in the middle of all that controlled energy, Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei share a moment that does not seem planned. It may be nothing more than a glance across the room, a quick smile, or a reaction that lasts only a heartbeat. Yet the emotional weight of that heartbeat can feel enormous because it appears to happen before either of them has time to think about how it will look. That is where curiosity begins. Not because the moment proves anything, but because it reveals a kind of natural rhythm that viewers find difficult to ignore. There is something particularly powerful about watching people who are accustomed to performing suddenly appear unguarded. Actors spend their careers learning how to express emotions with precision. They know how to create chemistry on screen, how to hold a gaze, how to smile at exactly the right moment, how to communicate entire emotions through the smallest movement. But when those same people are outside a scripted scene, viewers naturally become fascinated by the difference between performance and instinct. A rehearsed interaction can be beautiful, but an unexpected reaction can feel more intimate because it seems to come from somewhere beyond preparation. With Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei, this distinction is what keeps people watching. Is the warmth simply professional familiarity? Is it friendship? Is it the comfort of two people who have spent enough time together to understand each other's habits? Or is there something else that only becomes visible when neither of them is trying to reveal it? The most intriguing part is that neither person needs to do anything extraordinary. Sometimes Tian Xiwei can simply turn her head and discover Zhang Linghe looking in her direction, and suddenly the entire atmosphere seems to change. Sometimes Zhang Linghe appears to react to something she does with a smile that feels noticeably softer than his expression a moment earlier. These are not declarations. They are not evidence of a secret relationship. They are simply fragments of human behavior, and human behavior is endlessly fascinating because it can be interpreted in so many ways. One viewer may see friendship. Another may see professional chemistry. Someone else may see two people who have developed an unusually comfortable understanding. And somewhere among those interpretations is the mystery that keeps the story alive. There is also something compelling about the contrast between their personalities and the way that contrast can create an unexpected balance. Tian Xiwei often carries a bright, expressive energy that can make even a quiet moment feel lively, while Zhang Linghe can appear more reserved, composed, and observant. When those two energies meet, the interaction can feel naturally dynamic. One seems to bring movement into the moment, while the other seems to absorb it. One expression changes, and the other reacts. One person laughs, and the other cannot help but notice. It creates a subtle rhythm that viewers instinctively recognize even without knowing what is being said. Perhaps that is why their unscripted moments can feel so much more powerful than a carefully staged photograph. The photograph captures an image, but the unscripted moment captures a relationship between reactions. And then there are the moments when the atmosphere seems to become unexpectedly quiet. In the middle of a busy public setting, there can be a brief pause where neither person appears to be performing for the room. They are simply there, sharing the same space. That kind of silence can feel strangely meaningful because it leaves room for imagination. What were they thinking? Did one of them notice the other's expression? Was there a private joke that viewers never heard? Was it simply an ordinary moment between two colleagues who have become comfortable around one another? We may never know, and perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes those moments so captivating. The unanswered question becomes part of the story. Fans often search for meaning in tiny details because those details are the only pieces available to them. A smile, a glance, a moment of hesitation, a subtle change in expression. The way someone turns toward another person when they hear their voice. These things are incredibly easy to overinterpret, especially when millions of people are already emotionally invested in the possibility of a special bond. Yet there is a more balanced way to appreciate these moments. They do not have to prove a romance to be meaningful. They do not have to confirm a hidden relationship to be beautiful. Sometimes what viewers are responding to is simply the rare feeling of seeing two people who seem genuinely comfortable in each other's presence. That comfort may be the most important detail of all. Real familiarity often reveals itself not through dramatic gestures but through a lack of hesitation. People who feel comfortable around each other do not constantly calculate where to stand, when to smile, or how to react. Their responses become automatic. They recognize each other's rhythms. They know when the other person is about to laugh. They can anticipate a reaction without needing an explanation. And when that kind of ease appears in public, viewers notice because it feels different from a formal celebrity interaction. The difference may be subtle, but subtlety is often where the strongest emotions live. Perhaps that is why certain moments between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei seem to linger in the minds of fans long after the event has ended. The event itself eventually becomes old news. The lights disappear. The outfits are replaced by new ones. The photographs stop appearing on timelines. Yet one particular glance remains. One smile remains. One tiny reaction becomes the moment everyone remembers. It is almost as though the crowd, the music, and the cameras become background noise while those two people briefly occupy a world of their own. Whether that perception reflects reality or simply the emotional power of the moment is impossible to say, but the feeling it creates is undeniably strong. There is also suspense in the fact that their story, as seen through public moments, never seems to offer a complete answer. Just when viewers think they understand the dynamic, another appearance introduces a different shade of interaction. One moment may feel playful, another may feel shy, another may seem completely ordinary, and then a tiny unscripted reaction can suddenly make everyone question what they thought they had understood. That uncertainty creates an emotional push and pull. People keep looking because they are waiting for the next small detail, not necessarily expecting a dramatic revelation, but wondering whether another piece of the puzzle will appear. The human mind naturally connects moments together. When we see two people interacting repeatedly, we begin to notice patterns. We remember how they behaved previously and compare it with how they behave now. That is where the idea of something having changed begins to emerge. Maybe the change is not in the relationship at all. Maybe the change is simply in how viewers perceive it. Perhaps a moment that would once have seemed ordinary now feels significant because fans have become familiar with the dynamic. Or perhaps the comfort between them really has grown through time and shared experiences. Without knowing their private lives, nobody outside their circle can say with certainty. But the possibility itself is enough to create an emotional mystery. And mystery has always been one of the most powerful forces in celebrity stories. The less that is explained, the more people want to understand. A completely open relationship leaves little room for speculation, while an ambiguous interaction can inspire endless discussion. Yet behind all the theories are two real human beings whose lives exist beyond cameras and headlines. They have their own friendships, pressures,